Have you ever tried to have a calm, conscious conversation with your child or your partner or your co parent or anyone for that matter, only to watch it spiral into defensiveness, shutdown mode, or tears, or just go in a totally different direction than you intended? Today, we're going to slow everything down and walk through the 10 steps of an empowered conversation. This is based directly on the Jai Institute for Parenting framework. This is the certification that I have for parent coaching, and it's an excellent framework to guide a conversation so that it doesn't go completely off the rails, so that you can keep your intention in mind, so that you can connect with whoever it is that you're having a conversation with and keep things on track. These steps help you to move from correction and control to connection and collaboration with who you're having a conversation with. I'm Julie Cornish, and I'm the founder of the Rewired Parent, a place where we are transforming our parenting and ourselves from the inside out. So, today we're going to be talking about the 10 steps of empowered conversation. Last week was the first video in the series, and we talked about awareness. This week, we are putting that conversation more into action, going in depth with all 10 steps and how we can implement them. And if you jump down in the description, I have put a link for a list of the 10 steps, as well as so you can handwrite them out, so that before you go into a conversation with someone, you can write out each step to really help you stay online, or just to give yourself an idea of how you want the conversation to go, what you want to say, and how you want to walk into it. And it also might be helpful for you just to print that conversation out as we go through the video, so that you can take notes or really go in depth with these 10 steps. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Step one of the 10 empowered conversation steps is connect. So before any words are spoken, connection sets the tone. If you can take a few minutes to connect without an agenda, and what I mean is you're connecting with the individual you're going to be having a conversation with. So that means maybe if it's a child, you're going to sit and read a book together. Maybe you're just going to laugh, go for a walk. Maybe you share a snack. But you just sit and take a few deep breaths with them. If it's one of your, uh, if it's your partner or your co-parent or another adult, you can just sit and maybe have a cup of tea. Same thing, go for a walk. Just take a moment to connect without the agenda. If it's not possible to connect with the person that you're going to be having a conversation with first, connect with yourself. Take a moment and have your own cup of tea. Read through your empowered conversation that you wrote down, or maybe it's just going through all of the steps and visualizing in your head, making space for it to be okay if the conversation doesn't go as planned. Empowered conversations will grow from safety, not from urgency. Step number two is consent. And we talked about that a little bit in the last video. It does sound a little bit strange and might feel a little bit awkward or uncomfortable to ask someone consent to have a conversation. But like I said before, it shows your children and your partner that you respect them and you want them to be as ready for this conversation as you are. And be prepared for them to say that they're not ready, and allow them to come to you when they are, or ask them if it's okay if you ask again later if they're ready for the conversation. We can't force people into meaningful dialogue. And that's why we're asking first. Because if we're trying to, especially with our children, say, we're having this conversation now, then we've already begin that power over, and there can be shut down. So, an example of asking consent would be something as easy as saying, "Hey, is now a good time to talk about what happened earlier?" Or, "Do you have a moment where we could have a conversation about whatever's been happening or whatever you're wanting to have a conversation about?" When both people choose to engage and are agreeing to have the conversation, there's a lot less likely for defensiveness to be present, and the conversation can be more open and feel more safe. Step three is to state your intention. So, your intention is your compass, it's your North Star in the conversation. You can say it out loud or simply hold it in your heart. You can write it down. My intention is to understand your point of view. My intention is to apologize and reconnect. My intention is to understand what's going on for you. When you know why you're speaking, your tone naturally softens. And when you know why you're speaking, it is less likely for the conversation to go askew. So maybe you have your intention written down in front of you. Maybe you've gone through the conversation beforehand and you have it really set in your heart. So keep that intention of the conversation, and that will help be your guide. Step number four is affirm what is going well. Well, what does that mean? So, with the person you're having the conversation with, start with what's working. This is going to help everybody to kind of settle in and feel a little bit more positive. Starting with something like, "I really loved how you've been helping your sister lately," or "I love all of the beautiful art you're creating," or "I appreciate that you're open to talking with me. I love how easily we can communicate and connect," or "I appreciate your willingness to sit with me and help work through this." Anything that's positive, it shows appreciation, it opens up love and connection. It also helps to calm the nervous system. And that is always a plus when you're sitting down for a conversation that has the potential to go awry. Step number five, state your concern clearly. Naming the issue without blame or drama or over dramatization. Keep it simple and specific. "I'm concerned about how we've been speaking at bedtime. I am noticing mornings have been really rushed and we're getting to school late. I noticed that you're spending a lot more time on the screen, and I'm a little concerned about that." Clarity invites curiosity, criticism invites defensiveness. So you're essentially stating what's going on without judgment, or stating what's going on for you without judgment or blame. Step six is take responsibility for your part and own your contribution to the disconnect. Examples would be apologizing for something that you've done that has contributed to whatever's happening. Like, "I apologize for raising my voice and speaking to you that way. I was feeling really frustrated. I realized I wasn't fully listening earlier. Would you like to tell me what you were trying to say?" I think as parents, um, it's easy for us to interrupt our children when we know they're wrong. But the thing about it is when they're communicating with us, when they're telling us their side of the story and we know they're wrong, well, they don't. They are believing what they're saying to you, and maybe it's their interpretation of it. But I know from experience that I will ask my child something that I have said to them is totally different than what I actually said. So the interpretation of what we say can be completely different than what we intended. So, just making space to apologize, owning your part in the conversation. If you have interrupted, if you have come in with negativity, if you have snapped, if whatever it is, wherever your part is, because we always have a part in it. So, taking ownership of that. When we model accountability, our children learn emotional integrity. Keep that in mind. It's valuable and important to model that for our children. So, step 7 is state your feelings and needs. Use I statements to share what's real for you. I feel frustrated and tired when mornings are chaotic and rushed. I need more teamwork and calm as we get ready. You're not asking your child to fix it. You're modeling honesty and emotional literacy. Step number 8 is offering empathy. Their feelings and needs now turn toward the other person. So we're offering empathy for how the other person is feeling. We're being curious. It seems like, so you can use empathy statements. It seems like you're ready for, it seems like getting ready for school feels stressful to you. Am I right? Are you feeling overwhelmed or needing more choices? We both, when both people feel seen and heard, defensiveness melt away and our hearts can open up. So we oftentimes, as parents, have a pretty good intuition for what's happening with our children. And so if we can express that, be like, hey, bud, it looks like you're really struggling with math and getting incredibly frustrated. How can I help you? And so opening up, acknowledging where you see them struggling, or even asking, is this happening for you? This is what my intuition says, however you want to word it. Step number 9 is brainstorming solutions together. And this is really important to know that these are requests versus demands. Empowered conversations all about partnership, not compliance. It's about compassion and curiosity and trying to understand the individual that you're having a conversation with. Demands have one acceptable outcome, and that's yours. So they would sound like, you need to pick up your room right now or else no iPad. I need you to listen. You never listen. Things like that. So they usually come in a harsh tone and they don't give room for compromise or conversation, and they really lead to shut down for whoever you're talking to, child, co-parent, doesn't matter. It's going to lead to a stressful situation, and it's not going to lead to compliance. Generally, if it does lead to compliance, there'll be resentment or frustration around it. There is, I can't remember her name, but there's a doctor who talks about it, and she says the quickest way to have a child tune you out is to say, I need you to. Children aren't wired to meet our needs. That's not their job. We are responsible for meeting our own needs. And we're responsible for meeting the needs of our children and helping to support them in understanding and being compassionate. But that doesn't mean that they're there to meet our needs. So, a request, on the other hand, is going to create collaboration. So, those are going to sound more like, would you be willing to pick up your clothes before dinner? Can we have a more calm evening? Or even, how could we have a more calm evening tonight? Can we come up with a plan to help for both of us to prepare dinner if you're talking to a partner? It's a question that is collaborative and it's not one outcome. Requests invite a yes and a no, and that freedom creates trust. And that is something that we have to be open to, is that our requests, we have to be able to accept that no. Sometimes people aren't ready to collaborate, and that's going to be frustrating. And those will be moments where you're going to need to remind yourself, what's in your cup? How can I remain calm? Keeping that grounding when you're not going to necessarily get the outcome that you wanted, and how can you continue the conversation for collaboration, or it can work both best for both of you. And step 10 is to close with a shared appreciation. Every conversation deserves a conscious close, whether or not it went the way that you wanted it to or not. It's good to appreciate your partner in that conversation. It's going to lead to future conversations of being more open and willing to communicate. So you could say something like, "Thank you for listening to me." And if it didn't go well, you could say, "I trust that we're going to work this out. I love how well you hear me. I appreciate you being able to have this conversation with me, and we'll pick it up again later when we're feeling a little bit more calm." Appreciation will anchor safety and reminds both of you that connection, not perfection, is the goal. And all of this mindful parenting is really about modeling growth and modeling that ability to rewire and change the way that we do things. And doing it imperfectly is really almost how it's going to play out every time. And that's okay because it is a process and it's a model, and we're showing our children that we are capable of growth and change, as are they. And that was the 10 steps to an empowered conversation. You'll find that in the description below. I've created a little document and it goes through each one so you can kind of write it out before you sit down and have a conversation with your child or with your partner. And in the next episode of the series, we're going to talk about what keeps us from having these empowered conversations in the first place. And I mentioned in the first video, most of us were not modeled caring, loving conversations. So we don't know how to do it. So we're learning this process and modeling it for our children so that they don't have to go through this as adults when they have children. And what is keeping us from those empowered conversations is what we'll get into in the next video. And it'll look like what are the emotional blocks, our old conditioning, and those subconscious patterns that make it so hard to stay regulated and open up when things get tough. I will also be doing a map session on clearing those blocks, clearing being heard, and expressing ourselves so we can feel safe, present, and connected in conversations, no matter how they go. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say map, go ahead and jump onto the playlist, and there's a video explaining what map is. I've got a few map sessions that you can jump on. The first one I did is clearing parenting guilt and shame, and that's a good place to start because once we get that cleared out, we can open up more to clearing other old patterns in parenting. Later in the month, well, I guess we're coming to the end of the month. This year has been going by so fast. In the next few weeks, maybe a month or so, I'm going to be opening up a free parenting community. So keep an eye out for that. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe, and then you'll be in the know when that pops out. And before we wrap it up, I really just, as always, I want to remind you that your healing matters and your growth matters and you matter deeply. So please keep showing up, keep doing the work, and I will see you next time. I can't wait, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Alrighty, bye-bye.